Hello and welcome to Camnet TV Main News. I'm Jeffrey Siambo to present. Top stories in the news tonight. UPND cadres fighting for over BUSEKO market harass Camnet TV journalists at MATERO police station. Former government officials in trouble for going away with state property. The PF castigates government over poor planning on the free education policy. In international news, Sudan on edge as protests persist. And in sports news, ROMELU LUKAKU apologizes to Chelsea.
Are you a young talented football player? Unlock your international future potential of greatness in soccer. Zambia's greatest soccer talent that the world has been waiting for is about to be revealed. Join young and gifted football players through Camnet Soccer Academy. There will be trials and selection of potential players. Trials to be conducted on 8th January 2022. Camnet Soccer Academy is looking for 2 categories, namely under 16 and under 18. Don't miss this opportunity of a lifetime. Time 08 hours to 16 hours. Venue Kablonga Boys Secondary School. Parents, bring and support your children.
Another news in detail. Wrangles have emerged at Lusaka's BUSEKO market, where alleged United Party for National Development UPND cadres are trying to force their way into a market that is under a cooperative. Some sources spoken to at the market have revealed that the cooperative, which deals with timber and grass trade, charges about 1,000 kwacha per truck of timber offloaded at the cooperative land. Hence the wrangle, as some want to get into the cooperative with intentions of pocketing funds raised. Meanwhile, Camnet TV journalists who rushed at MATERO police to get more information on the matter were harassed by the cadres in the process. More in this report.
Cadreism in markets has remained a problem for a long time, as it seems to be finding its way back to these facilities despite various efforts to curb the vice. These are alleged United Party for National Development UPND cadres who have dragged themselves to the police after wrangles at Lusaka's BUSEKO market over who gets to be in the market cooperative. Sources have told Camnet News that there is a disagreement in the camp, as some want the market traders themselves to run the cooperative, while the other camp of alleged UPND cadres want to force their way into the cooperative. According to the sources, the cooperative, which goes by the name BUSEKO Timber and Grass Cooperative Society, has charges of approximately 1,000 kwacha for each truck of timber offloaded onto the cooperative land. They say it is due to this that the wrangle has emerged, as some allegedly want to make their way into the cooperative with the aim of pocketing funds. The Camnet news crew, which rushed to MATERO police, were harassed by the cadres who had engaged in an exchange of blows, demanding for the footage to be deleted. Are you being violent to me? I got to the police. I'm a journalist. Please, I'm a journalist. You can't stop me from doing my job. You're harassing them. 2 Camnet TV journalists were then held against their own will by cadres at this room at the police station in full view of the police, as the cadres continued demanding for the footage to be erased. UPND Lusaka District Security Chairman Mr. Vincent Piri, however, came to the rescue and has explained the situation at the market.
We want our able minister to look into this issue seriously, because what is happening now is that the cooperative are regrouping, they are bringing people, youths from outside the market, harassing now marketeers.
Chair lady of the cooperative, in the company of other cooperative leaders, have aired their concerns.
Last week, banamenya secretary watu wake wachani wa cooperative. Bana mayuthi. So ndiye kuti ife ya cadreism stifuna. Mamene bakambira wa president siba ifuna. Na ife cadreism bamene wachita HARASS stifuna. Ile tifuna peace. Yamene ifuna Zambia yonse.
Tena ngu baleta bajabanzao bafuna kusebenzera pamozi balete cadreism. So banzao manje ndiye bamene bakana iya cadreism ba president banalesa kudala tienti konke chabe lo mwamene bakambira tisebenze na wa cooperative tipempeko nchito, but abo ba PF ndiye manje bali pamozi na UPND cadres bafuna basebenzere pamozi bazikolekita mandalama mu malo ya bene balibe mapepa ndiye vichitika patu pamalo.
It seems like cadreism is still there. It has not ended because they don't want to work on their own. What they want is to just having something for free, and then to make matters worse, they are being harassing us as the owner of the cooperative.
Meanwhile, when contacted over the issue of CADRES in markets, UPND spokesperson Mr. Cornelius Mutua could not give a comment, stating that he was held up in a meeting and would go back, but did not do so by broadcast time.
Unfortunately, I'm in trauma right now and I'm having a Zoom meeting. Maybe I'm done, I'll call you back.
Camnet News has since reached out to the Lusaka City Council to get more information on the matter.
Okay, let me ask the marketing manager, then I'll get back to you. He will give me the details.
Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
A Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company underground pipe has burst in Kalingalinga compound, leaving houses flooded in water. Area Councillor Mukubesa Nyoni says the development has disrupted property of affected households and calls on the water utility company to put up permanent measures to avoid pipe bursts. Meanwhile, Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company Public Relations Officer Shamba Muzungu has attributed the burst to land encroachments and calls on the community to avoid building on the utility water system. More in this report.
Multiple households of Lusaka's Kalingalinga compound have been affected by a temporary water supply shutdown following an underground water pipe burst on which it is alleged that the victim's house was built on. A resident recounts that the pipe burst occurred around 03 a.m. and narrates its impact on the surrounding area where the owner of the house was not available during broadcast time.
So the water started around earlier 03 hours. Yeah. So after that we reported to the water and sewerage around 6 hours. But after that one of the water and sewerage came and see the situation, but he just came and went back. After that, I went and engaged the councillor to come and see the situation. So that's how the councillor came and see the situation. After that, now, that's when he called you to come. It's bad because when you go inside, the houses are also in water and we know that there is electrical appliances. So the situation is bad. They are all over, everywhere there is water in their houses.
And Area Councillor Mukubesa Nyoni has called on the water utility company to come up with a permanent solution to address the pipe system in the area to avoid future bursts that lead to property loss and water disruption.
We have a very sad situation in the world, and as leaders we tend to look at the interest of the people rather than trying to see if they built on wrongly. That will come later. For me, that's why I engaged the water and the sewerage company. Immediately I got the news so that they come and help out. And I'm glad the PR for the water utility is here. And I've also called the people in charge of engineering from the same institution. So they are on their way. They are just mobilizing their equipment.
While on the site, Lusaka Water and Sanitation Company Public Relations Officer Shamba Muzungu says the problem has been instigated by a resident who built his house on the water pipe.
What that means is that this section of Kalingalinga as well as parts of Kaunda will not have water as a result of the repair works which are going to be undertaken here. But also I think that it is important to highlight the risk which encroachment poses to our customers or the community, because clearly this house that you see here was built on top of the pipeline, and there lies the danger in situations where you have a pipe burst, like the situation that we are witnessing here.
He has since urged members of the public to follow laid-down procedures when acquiring land to avoid constructing on the water pipelines. And the LWSC engineering team was swift to addressing the situation. Alex Shimba, Camnet News, in Lusaka.
The Opposition Patriotic Front has charged that the money released by the Treasury towards paying farmers who supplied commodities to the Food Reserve Agency and the implementation of free education is not adequate. On Monday, the Treasury released over 1.2 billion kwacha of payments to farmers under the 2020-2021 farming season, and 324 million is to payment for the first quarter operational support fund for public schools. But PF Vice President Given Lubinda has told a press conference that the money is not enough to effectively respond to pay out all the farmers and meet the aspirations of quality education. Details in the following report.
Zambians have been waiting to see the implementation of the free education policy as enshrined in the 2022 national budget, and farmers have been anxiously waiting for their money, and on the 3rd of January they had to step up to make their demands.
Icho napa pako chakwebati imwe muli ma ministers nomba obufiwatira imwe mwayiminine paredio muletweba pa 3 process initiator shani yatendeke yabafama nomba kaimwe balanda kaidele tuise tufite pano mwimi omuntu kayaye kwisa kulusaka bufi bwashani kwa ina ndinde fukulunda pali abezi icho ndeye pusha tili abala ndili atipachili nishani kuma office yenu ba minister filita ila atika.
Monday, the Treasury responded by releasing over 1.2 billion kwacha, of which 960 million is for the outstanding payments to farmers and 324 million kwacha is for the 2022 first quarter operational support fund for public schools. On the issue of farmers, the Food Reserve Agency FRA owes farmers 1.6 billion kwacha for the maize they supplied, and out of that amount, the government has released 960 million kwacha. And speaking during a media address in Lusaka Tuesday, Patriotic Front PF Vice President Given Lubinda believes the money is not enough, as the government should disperse enough funds to pay all farmers.
What is worse is that this amount of 960 million kwacha falls greatly short of paying all the farmers who have waited so long for their money. Since we're now in the long-awaited and much publicized New Dawn budget, we in the Patriotic Front urge the government to release all the money to all the farmers immediately. There is no excuse whatsoever. They told us to wait for their 2022.
And the opposition leader has observed that the 324 million kwacha allocation towards financing public schools in the wake of the free education policy is not enough and may compromise the standard of education.
Note that there are more than 8,000 primary schools in Zambia. There are more than 1,000 secondary schools. There are more than 25 special education schools, let alone the early education childhood centers. As you can imagine, the 324 million translates to less than 30,000 kwacha per school for the first quarter. This, my dear friends, further translates to less than 10,000 kwacha per month. 10p.
And Mr. Lubinda also implored the government to timely release the Constituency Development Fund.
We call upon Treasury to immediately release the CDF so that our members of parliament can start disbursing bursaries to the vulnerable children.
He has also called on the government to pay suppliers of goods and services. Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Patriotic Front Chilubi Member of Parliament Mulenga Fube says there is need for government to reform the Farmer Input Support Program FISIP by adding an aspect of crop insurance in view of the unpredictable weather patterns the country has been experiencing in the past few years. In an interview, Mr. Fube has also urged the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, to be proactive to the situation and not reactive by ensuring that flood-prone areas are identified ahead of the rain season and people relocated to avoid catastrophes. He has accused the United Party for National Development UPND administration of taking a casual approach in handling the problem of drought and floods in some parts of the country, stating that it should clearly communicate how it plans to handle this situation. More in this report.
Patriotic Front Chilubi Member of Parliament Mulenga Fube has urged the United Party for National Development UPND administration to take an aggressive approach in handling the plight of farmers in the country amidst various concerns. The recent years have seen droughts, while other areas have experienced floods as the impact of climate change becomes more apparent. In the light of this, Mr. Fube says the UPND administration should change its approach by accompanying the Farmer Input Support Program FISIP with insurance packs.
I must be compensated even in the form of early maturing seed to plant so that we match. So These are some of the factors that government need to address. And on the flip side of it, if the stormy rains comes, as it may be, we have seen now houses are falling in Chirabombo and many other. Whenever we have just a bit of rains, we have storm. Is government prepared to resettle people and cushion the collapsing of houses and buildings and so forth? Is the government financially and psychologically prepared? Are they preparing the minds of who? Because the rains may come with a lot of storm and torrential power, such that at the end of the day we may be overwhelmed as a country. There is need that we prepare in that line.
The Chilubi lawmaker has also called for any existing information gaps to be closed, stating that the nation needs to be informed on the food security situation in the country.
Very shocking, because I am receiving calls every time, and every time I travel there, people are complaining about what is happening in the nation. There is no flow of information that prepares the farmer psychologically. We have been told that the rains are supposed to come by 2nd January. This information is not professionally distributed and is not widely distributed. A farmer in Chilubi is not equipped, and I'm not qualified to start telling people that, because I'm not a meteorologist. The government should communicate through official information so that they prepare a farmer.
Various stakeholders have been calling for talks among stakeholders in the agriculture sector to determine the path that the country should take amidst climate change so as to eliminate any threats on food security. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News.
Nkeyema Member of Parliament, who is also Western Province Minister, Kapelo Mbangweta, says the use of the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, should be in line with the country's goal of attaining sustainable development by the year 2030. In an interview, Mr. Mbangweta states that Zambia has goals such as attaining universal education, hence the need to ensure that these are attained at the local level using these funds. Meanwhile, Mr. Mbangweta has commissioned a modern market at Mukuye and a modern classroom block at Sipalo Primary School within the district, which have been constructed using CDF.
In the context of decentralization, CDF is very important. You've seen where we are coming from. The original classroom block, if you are going to call it a classroom block, but that's where children have been learning from as far back as more than 10 years ago. And so you could imagine in terms of impact what that classroom block would do in terms of enhancing the well-being of the children and as well as the working environment for the teachers. It's important because projects of that nature are driven by the community. The community themselves determine what is important for them. And so if they participate and the deliverance in terms of what they ask for, I think that's very good. It's more useful than projects which are driven from the center, which don't make sense to the beneficiaries. And at the end of the day, they just become white elephants. The other thing, of course, which supports the view that we should have local contractors, that one is a typical project which supports this view. In this sense that in Nkeyema here, we have local contractors who have built houses, residential houses, to the required standard. But previously, they have not had the opportunity to put something like that.
The United Teachers Union of Zambia, UNITAZ, is opposed to calls by various stakeholders that grade 7 examinations should be abolished. This was after government announced a 100% progression rate for all grade 7s, a development which has in the past 2 years been a great subject of debate. UNITA's Director, Media, Publicity and International Affairs, James Sikazwe, says grade 7 examinations help prepare the learners for secondary school. Therefore, the grade 7 exam is used and should continue to be used to assess literacy. The union has, however, called on government to strengthen the assessment criteria and selection procedures to guarantee quality, confidence and hard work in the education sector.
Government should not squash grade 7 examinations as they help prepare the learners for secondary level. Also, this exam is used to assess literacy among the learners. Government should strengthen the assessment criterion so that quality is assured to promote hard work among learners. Those that are not competent enough to cross to another level must be repeated. Allowing everyone to go through is not a solution. Yes, we may have large numbers making to the next level, but having everyone passing is not true. Therefore, government must redeem itself. According to Occupation Health and Safety Act number 36 of 2010, states that the employer must protect workers at workplace against risks to health or safety arising or in connection with the activities of persons at work. Also, the science communities recommends that the 6 golden rules must be applied. So the long term should be that government must at least set up COVID vaccination centers as close as possible to the facilities.
The University of Zambia Student Union Ridgeway campus has raised suspicions at the way the Student Loan and Board Scholarship has been awarding loans to the students in the past few years. Union Vice President Peter Nkole has questioned why the board has shifted from using the criteria of vulnerability, which has benefited most students in the past, to now awarding loans based on results. Mr. Nkole says it is unfair for the board to expect pupils in rural areas to perform as those from urban schools such as David Kaunda. And campus president Benedict Monga wants government to answer to why students from other schools have been left out from the loans programs. More in this report.
December 2021, some University of Zambia students who were left out from the Students and Loan Scholarship protested, demanding that government investigates how the selection process was conducted. The students, among other things, had evidence showing that they come from vulnerable families, but not even that was enough to convince the board to place them under the program. Out of the over 10,000 students that applied, only 2,400 students were placed under the program.
The idea here is that they should give logical explanations and not saying yes, and we can't cover for everyone. That's quite logical. They have to consider these things. They have policies.
I was part of the people who are left out, so I'm here to fight for my right to education.
University of Zambia Student Union Ridgeway campus have expressed suspicion at the way the board has been awarding the loans and has called for thorough investigations from the government.
Which is, in our opinion, very unfair, especially that the population of students who are completing high school has increased, and so the numbers of people that are applying into university and subsequently being accepted has increased as well.
And the majority of them are actually in School of Medicine. And then you ask one question: did these people really sit to assess who qualifies to be given this loan, or they simply got the admission list from UNZA and assessed to see who had 6 points and then just awarded people across board?
The union is also disappointed at the new criteria the board is using in awarding the loans, which is now being done on the basis of performance as opposed to vulnerability. Mr. Nkole says it is not fair to compare the performance of pupils in schools such as David Kaunda Secondary School in Lusaka to that of pupils in Shangombo district.
You come from the Combo, you come from rural areas where you are not exposed to a lot of material to study, and so you don't get to have very good points like 6 and 5 points like our colleagues who are in the city. And so using such a criteria in our view is very detrimental and very disadvantageous to people like us. So we're appealing to government to revisit that.
With over 8,000 students not being placed on the scholarship program, many of the students might drop out from the institution, which will defeat the new government's agenda of ensuring that those who complete their grade 12 attain a higher education scholarship. This calls for government to increase funding to the board to allow more students to be placed under the program. Prudence Jota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Minister of Mines and Minerals Development Paul Kaboswe is disappointed at the conduct of mine owners who have failed to abide by government's directive to have local contractors and suppliers engaged. Speaking when he addressed management at Luambe Copper Mines in Chilalawombe district Tuesday morning, the minister has wondered what the challenge is for the local contractors and suppliers to be put on the database of most mines. He says commercial departments in most mines have been notorious and will only engage a local supplier and contractor when they have personal agendas. He says government's approach is not to be punitive but to resolve issues that affect the mines.
We promote the participation of local suppliers and contractors. I think that Lubambe, you are singing that song, but I'm not seeing the practicality of that. I've told all the mines, and I think I'll reiterate here. Can we sort out our commercial departments? I know they are here. Commercial departments, sort yourselves out. We have been notorious as commercial departments in a lot of mines. Just by a Zambian, just being on your database to be a supplier or a contractor, I don't know why people have complicated this aspect. I've sung it several times. I was telling KCM yesterday. Why is it so hard just to be on your database for a person to be a supplier or a contractor? Because that is the first step. If they have no capacity, do capacity building programs as part of your CSR. Call the companies, what don't you have? Have your tax clearance, have whatever documentation is required so that we build capacities.
Government has given former officials who served under the Patriotic Fund a 7-day amnesty, effective 4th January 2022, in which they should surrender all government motor vehicles in their possession or risk being prosecuted. Addressing the media Tuesday, Home Affairs and Internal Security Minister Jack Mimbo says this directive cuts across the board, including parastatal organization leaders, political cadres, and members of the public who are illegally holding on to the said government vehicles. Mr. Mimbo says failure to return the vehicles, government through security wings will arrest and charge those found wanting with the offense of theft of motor vehicles.
Within which to surrender them to government, counting effectively from today, the 4th of January 2022. Failure to do so, government through the security wings shall institute investigations to recover all concealed motor vehicles, and individuals who will be found with the said motor vehicles shall be arrested and charged for theft of motor vehicles. On the political violence that has characterized Kawata constituency parliamentary by-election, slated for the 20th January 2022. This by-election follows the death of the United Party for National Development Member of Parliament, Honorable Levi Mkandawile, who died on 18th November 2021 in a tragic road traffic accident here in South. May his soul continue to rest in peace. Zambia is known to be a haven of peace and a good example of democracy in the region and Africa as a whole.
This is Camnet TV and not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, too, me.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
It's your time to get to groove and step back to school in 2022 in magnificent style. Hurry to your nearest Bata store anywhere in Zambia and get a free Spiral notebook for every pair of Bata school shoes you purchase. Promotion runs until the 31st of January 2022. Hurry while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Tell your mother, Happy Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Christmas. To all our Camnet TV viewers, you have been a blessing. The Healing Word Ministries International, the church that my wife and I pastor, you are just phenomenal. May the Lord bless you in 2022.
For the Lord to allow us to enter into 2022 by His special grace, we can only say, Lord, we thank you for your mercies and grace. We've gone through a lot of things in 2021, but God has given us a fresh start, a brand new day. We are entering it with the right footing and putting God ahead of us, knowing that it's by His mercies and grace. We know that we cannot do it without Him. Personally, my husband and I, we cannot do anything without the Lord. We refuse to take Him for granted or think we are any more special than all of you people. May God bless you, Camnet TV viewers. You are just the best. God bless you, world. God bless you, Healing Word Ministries. We love you. And keep watching Camnet TV, because Camnet TV is not just another channel.
You were born
for greatness.
For greatness.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. The Ministry of Green Economy and Environment has encouraged the members of the public to put value on trees and protect the land. In an interview with Camnet TV News, Minister in charge of Green Economy and Environment, Collins Nzovo, says trees can be used for various things such as medicinal purposes. He adds that soil erosion can be combated if an area has a lot of trees. More in the following report.
On the 31st of December 2021, Camnet TV aired a story of a Lusaka concerned youth, Reverend Piri, who is implementing government's effort in the fight against climate change through fostering afforestation. Mr. Piri called on the members of the public to contribute to the fight against climate change by planting more trees.
Jobs like I'm doing here, I'm doing it voluntarily because I see the impact.
With that background, Minister of Green Economy and Environment has since encouraged the members of the public to put value on trees and protect the land.
Is that we want to encourage the Zambians to put value on trees, to put value on the forests. It will be more beneficial in the near future, even now, to plant these trees. The benefits from trees are immense. You know, trees are what protects the land itself, the soil. You know, you prevent soil erosion.
The minister adds that government alone cannot manage to fight climate change, hence calling on all stakeholders to come on board.
Trees will ensure that there's no soil erosion. The trees protect the watershed, you know, the sources of the rivers. The trees are what protects recharge zones, the aquifers down there. The trees capture carbon dioxide. You know, carbon dioxide is the main greenhouse gas which leads to climate change. So they capture it and store it it's stored within the trees as they produce the oxygen. The trees actually will even be more valuable now because the rules for carbon trading.
Afforestation is important to solve the problem of imbalance in the ecosystem, global warming, soil erosion, and greenhouse effect. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Movement for Democratic Change, MDC, an alliance partner in the UPND-led government, is concerned with the increase in financial irregularities, especially in the local authorities, as reported in the latest Auditor General's report for the year ending 2020. According to the Auditor General's report, 3 billion kwacha of financial irregularities was reported from 67 local authorities out of the 116 which were audited during the course of the year 2020. This shows an increase of 50% on the 2 billion kwacha that was reported in 2019. Movement for Democratic Change MDC Vice President Political Helena Hikaumba says with increased allocation of the Constituency Development Funds CDF from a meager 1.6 million kwacha to 25.7 million kwacha, efforts should be directed at ensuring that no such irregularities occur henceforth. Mr. Hikaumba is confident that under the watch of President Hakainde Hichilema, all ministries will ensure that issues of financial irregularities and theft of public resources will be a thing of the past.
Absolute confidence that under the watchfulness of His Excellency, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of this great republic, all ministries will ensure that the issues of financial irregularities and theft of public resources will be a thing of the past. Those individuals who may go astray should have themselves to blame for any punitive actions that may follow afterwards. Where appropriately applicable, we call for the dismissal of individual officers linked to the misappropriation of public funds from these concerned local authorities cited in the Auditor General's report. This will serve as a deterrent measure to would-be offenders. In regard to CDF, the line ministry should ensure adequate sensitization on financial management, that is, for all those who will be responsible for the handling of these public resources intended to benefit all constituencies across the country.
The Attorney General has argued before the Constitutional Court that the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, was within the provision of the law and did not invoke Article 72, Cap 8 of the Constitution to declare the affected seats vacant, but only directed that the affected Patriotic Front MPs stay away from parliamentary business and shall not draw a stipend until their appeals against the election petitions are disposed of by the Constitutional Court. In this petition, the Law Association of Zambia LAZ wants the court to interpret the provision of the Constitution which the National Assembly Speaker Nelly Muti used to stop PF MPs whose election was nullified by the High Court from attending proceedings. In its latest submissions, the state has also argued that the Constitution has by no means expressly or impliedly allowed a person whose seat has been nullified by the High Court to continue holding the seat pending determination of his or her appeal against the impugned High Court judgment. The state has further asked the court to dismiss the case, as the same matter has been commenced by the Governance Election Advocacy Research Services Initiative Zambia Limited, GEARS.
The matter before court of the 9 opposition Patriotic Front members of parliament seem to have taken center stage, with about 2 different parties, including the affected MPs, file in their different petition before the Constitutional Court. Apart from Governance Election Advocacy Research Services Initiative Zambia Limited, GEARS, taking interest in the case, the Law Association of Zambia LAZ is among parties that have gone to the Constitutional Court seeking interpretation of the provision of the Constitution which the Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, used to stop the PF MPs whose election was nullified by the High Court from attending any parliamentary proceedings. In this matter, the Law Association has cited the Attorney General as the respondent. According to the latest submission filed before court by the Attorney General, Mulilo Kabesha, has argued that the Speaker did not evoke Article 72(8) of the Constitution to declare the affected seat vacant, but only directed the affected PF MPs to stay away from parliamentary business and should not draw allowances until their appeals against the elections are disposed of by the Constitutional Court. Further submitting that the Constitution has by no means expressly allowed a person whose seat has been nullified by the High Court to continue holding the seat pending determination of his or her appeal against the impugned High Court judgment, as Article 73(4) of the Constitution only makes an exception to the holding of the seat pending determination of the election petition, adding that the privilege to holding a parliamentary seat comes to an end when the High Court has nullified the election of an MP, more so when there is no appeal pending determination. He has also observed that the Constitution in its entirety has some lacunas, as Article 72 in particular is very silent in instances where the High Court nullifies an election, particularly where there is no appeal pending before the Constitutional Court. The state has also urged the court to dismiss the case or consolidate it with the one commenced by Gears, as the case borders on the same issue involving the expelled 9 members of Parliament. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Food Reserve Agency, FRA, has been dragged to the Lusaka Magistrate Court for allegedly failing to pay a total of over 73 million kwacha contribution to the National Pension Scheme Authority. This is in a matter in which the FRA is facing 37 counts of failing to pay statutory contributions to NAPSA, contrary to Section 51 of the NAPSA Act No. 40 of 1996 of the laws of Zambia. Allegations in the first count are that FRA, between 31st July 2016 and 10th August of 2016, being registered employer, allocated account number 462391, failed to pay the sum of 50,134,052 ngwe contribution amount and 20% cumulative penalty of 651,748 kwacha 76 ngwe for the month of July 2016 in respect of the eligible employees. It is further alleged from count 2 to 37 that FRA on various dates failed to pay different amounts of the NAPSA contribution. When the matter came before the Lusaka Chief Resident Magistrate Dominic Makalicha Tuesday morning, counsel representing FRA informed court that he was trying to convince NAPSA to withdraw the case because it is a big case which needs some privacy. However, the court has adjourned the case to the 18th of this month for possible plea. You're watching Camnet TV News. We'll take another break. We'll be back with more news after this break.
For over 24 years now, we have constantly been working to ensure that we deliver products and services to communities, cities, nations, the continent, and the world at large, offering solutions in the energy sector, mining, telecommunications, health, transport, construction, cybersecurity, agriculture, and printing. Savenda has been at the core of it all in ensuring that it helps in bringing social and economic development to its loving people. We value your support, and as we look forward to the year ahead, would like to thank you for the support you have given us. The Savenda Group of Companies board, management and staff would like to wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2022. Savenda, Save Nations, Develop Africa.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry. There's so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Hi there! SGK Properties wants to remind you that there will be life after the festivities. That's why we are here right now presenting you an opportunity to invest in what will literally last you a lifetime. We have various plot sizes in Kabangwe area, just 6.7 kilometers from 6 miles roundabout. Plot sizes range from 20 by 20s, 25 by 20s, 30 by 20s, 35 by 20s, 40 by 20s, 40 by 23s, and 40 by 35s. We also have 1 acre plots located in Lusaka West, 22 kilometers from Lumumba Road on Mungwi Road, going for 180,000 kwacha. Remember, the option to have your dream house or passive income investment property constructed for you with modern finishes and quality care is also available. For more details on acquiring these pieces, contact us on 0762 166018 or scan the QR code you see on the screen to access us on WhatsApp directly. SGK Group, serving generations through knowledge.
Are you a young talented football player? Unlock your international future potential of greatness in soccer. Zambia's greatest soccer talent that the world has been waiting for is about to be revealed. Join young and gifted football players through Camnet Soccer Academy. There will be trials and selection of potential players. Trials to be conducted on 8th January 2022. Camnet Soccer Academy is looking for 2 categories, namely under 16 and under 18. Don't miss this opportunity of a lifetime. Time 08 hours to 16 hours. Venue Kablonga Boys Secondary School. Parents, bring and support your children.
Welcome back. And in international news, Sudan's military leader has called for an urgent caretaker government and new measures to deal with demonstrations. It follows the resignation of Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, who has warned that political deadlock threatens Sudan's survival. Pro-democracy groups say they are planning further protests on Tuesday, despite violent crackdowns by security forces that led to 3 deaths. In other news, beaches in Ghana have reopened, but only to those inoculated against the coronavirus 2 years after being closed to the public. But even though tourists are not back in force, businesses say it provides them with some hope. Here's a roundup of international news.
These people have recently heard Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, the first to hold the position following Sudan's 2018 revolution, has resigned, and many in the country are divided on his departure.
Hamdok's departure is a big loss to the nation. He had made a lot of achievements and brought progress to Sudan, but the military were the reason he was unable to move forward on so many issues. The military is the reason we're in this crisis.
It doesn't make a difference, just like he doesn't make a difference if he stays. Hamdok no longer serves the demands of the people on the street. He legitimised a takeover and blessed what they have done, and this was much less than what the people of Sudan have been calling for.
Hamdok was sworn in 2019 after the overthrow of longtime President Omar al-Bashir. He was picked by the coalition known as the Forces of Freedom and Change to lead Sudan's transition to democracy. The coalition represented the protest movement that led anti-government demonstrations against Bashir's government. But in past months, the coalition has been divided. That became the basis for the military to stage a takeover in October, placing Hamdok under house arrest and putting members of his cabinet in prison. A month later, he was released and then signed a deal to form a government of technocrats, sidelining political groups. When he first took office, Hamdok's popularity was high among the protesters, and when he was placed under house arrest during the military takeover, many regarded him as a symbol of civilian rule. But the deal he signed with the military in November made him lose support of not just the protest movement, but also of the political parties that brought him to power. Some activists say Hamdok's resignation could be in the interest of the protest movement.
Now that Hamdok has stepped down, they realize that they need to get their houses into order. They need to get their, they need to get everything organized. They need to start from scratch. And I think also the military side needs to understand that the people will not let up.
Hamdok has cited lack of consensus among political parties as his reason for stepping down. And as the political parties remain at odds, there's little hope of both coming together to name someone to replace him.
The Pleasure Beach Resort in Ghana's capital, Accra, is once again welcoming visitors. Beaches across the country were closed to the public in March 2020 because of COVID-19. People here are thankful to be back and eager to make up for lost time.
Don't go out much, but today being the first day, I think the third,
in the new year, we decided to come and have fun here. Yeah, but we are observing every protocol laid down.
Strict rules are in place, only vaccinated people are allowed onto the beach, and there are plenty of police officers around to ensure compliance. But for those not yet vaccinated, all is not lost. A temporary vaccination centre is operating just outside the resort. Once people have had their jab, they're allowed onto the beach. Organisers say the initiative has been a big success.
But people don't hesitate. The moment they get here, they direct them to us. They don't hesitate, they just agree, and then they just tell you the vaccine that they want. Then they just take their shot and then they go and enjoy themselves.
Despite the optimism, visitor numbers are not back to pre-pandemic levels, and the extra government restrictions are frustrating for those working in the tourism industry.
It's a long time the beach was closed, so today you can see that they are coming, but not the numbers we expected. But we hope by the close of the day will come, because they said no vaccination, no entry, so that's the problem. Some people, they forget their cards, so they have to go back home. Some people too, they haven't taken the shot, so it's creating a problem.
Business owners say they're still waiting to receive financial help that was promised by the government, but they're taking comfort from the fact this year has got off to a much better start than the one before.
It's now time for sports news. In sports news, Chelsea striker ROMELU LUKAKU was dropped for Sunday's Premier League draw with Liverpool after comments he made in an interview recorded 3 weeks ago. He apologized to the club and was back in the squad for today's training. In an interview recorded in December, Chelsea's club record £97.5 million signing said he was not happy with his beat part role under Tuchel and that he would like to return to Inter Milan in the near future. Before Sunday's game against Liverpool, Tuchel said he had left the 28-year-old out of the squad to protect the preparation. Tuchel added that even before that, he seemed to be, in his opinion, ready to play after his injury from the start, and he needed to readapt to the intensity a little bit more. To end Camnet TV main news, we take a look at stories making headlines once again. UPND cadres fighting over BUSEKO market harass Camnet TV journalists at MATERO police station. Former government officials in trouble for going away with state property. The PF castigates government over poor planning on the free education policy. And in international news, Sudan on edge as protests persist. And in sports news, ROMELU LUKAKU apologizes to Chelsea. We now look at the Camnet verse of the day, coming from 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6. Remember this, the person who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and the person who sows generously will also reap generously. Thank you for watching Camnet TV News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.